this live, I want to teach you the model that helps us scale coaching businesses. Now, I don't know how much you know about the work that we do, but our job is really simple. We take coaching businesses and take them from 10 grand a month, 6 figures, and help them to get to $1 million a year. And we do it with this model right here. I've got a flip chart over there, but I couldn't fit it into the screen. So I'm going a little bit high tech. I've got an iPad here I'm going to draw on, and let's have some fun with this, shall we? Here's what I want for you more than anything else in the world. More than anything in the world, I want you to have a coaching business that can scale. And what I mean by that is a coaching business that gives you more of 3 things. I don't know why you became a coach, but I've got a hunch that there's 3 things that you want. I reckon certainly for me, 3 things I want and 3 things I want for my clients. Number 1, I want you to have a coaching business that takes the lid off the amount of money you can earn, the amount of cash you can make, kind of income you can make from your coaching business. Most coaching businesses are limited the amount of money they can make, mostly because of the amount of hours that it takes and the amount of kind of clients they can look after. So we want to take the lid off money. Number 1, gives you more money. Number 2, that maximizes the amount of impact you can make. I call that meaning because it starts with M and it sounds cool, right? So in other words, that instead of making a big difference to like 5 or 10 or 15, maybe like 20 people, that you can impact hundreds or thousands of people with your coaching business. So the amount of money you can make, we've taken the lid off. The amount of meaning you can have, the kind of the difference you can make, we take the lid off. And thirdly, the amount of freedom you can enjoy, we take the lid off that as well. I want you to have more money and more meaning and more freedom. And I don't know why you got into your coaching business, but I know that for us, it started off, frankly, not that, for not that inspiring reason. We built this super leveraged, super scalable, multi-million-dollar coaching business. But it started off because Ethan, our son, who many of you know, had to spend weeks and weeks and weeks, like 10 weeks at Westmead Kids Hospital, a couple of times nearly died. And so for us, freedom was freedom to look after Ethan. And now he's in a really great space, health-wise, thank God, and we get to travel around the world having an amazing time. But more money and more meaning and more freedom are really the 3 things that drive me, that drive most of our clients, and the 3 things I think we want more of to grow your coaching business. Now, I know I talk quickly. I'm hoping this kind of internet connection lasts. Let's just get into it, shall we? To get more money, more meaning, and more freedom, there's 3 parts of your coaching business that we need to focus on. We need to look at the way we attract leads, the way we convert them into clients, and the way we deliver your service so you can help more people, have more fun, make more money, right? Here's what happens though. Most coaching businesses aren't built in a way that can scale at all. Most people don't have systems for attracting all of the leads they need, and because they don't, they end up with no audience, right? By the way, I'm going to need your help in a little bit. As we go through the how-to, I want you to look at this not as, oh, this is interesting content that Taki's teaching, but I want you to look at your coaching business through this lens. Now, most people don't have a way to get enough leads in, and so they end up with no audience, like world's best kept secret, no fun at all. So that, that's the opposite of being able to attract. I'm just going to delete. If you think about the convert side of your business, the way you convert prospects into clients. By the way, I'm using this tool called Ecamm Live. It's really fun. You're all popping up here on my side, and I can see you, and I feel like we're just having this chat together. It's great. Most coaches don't have a way to convert the client, prospects into clients, and so they end up with a big fat cash problem called no sales. Right? No audience means your marketing is limited. No sales means we're not converting prospects into clients, so that hurts our dollars. And then when it comes to the delivery side of your coaching business, the way we deliver our stuff, most coaching businesses are set up so that we can help, 10, 15, maybe 20 people before we cap out because it's time for money. And so there's no leverage. And so right now, I just want you to think about your coaching business. Which of those 3 problems is costing you the most so far? Is it that the audience is too small? Is it that we're just not making enough sales? Or that there's just not enough of you to go around and time is pretty short right now? Do you need more audience, more sales, or more leverage? What I want to do in a second is I want to show you the 9 accelerators, the 9 projects that we use to drive a coaching business and take you from where you are right now to $1 million a year in the next 12 months. Okay, so let's have a look at these. We're going to start with deliver because frankly, if we're going to generate leads and we're going to sell stuff, we need to know what we're going to get leads for and what we're going to sell. Okay, so under deliver, there are 3 accelerators, 3 kind of focus areas that we zoom in on in order to grow your coaching business. The first thing we want to do is we want to decide your model. In other words, we want to decide what we're going to sell, at what price point, how we're going to deliver it. We want to build something that can scale. So we go from doing time for money one-on-one coaching to something much more scalable and leveraged. Yeah. The second accelerator that we can use to speed up our coaching business is to unpack your IP. IP stands for intellectual property, the content out of your head. When you do one-on-one coaching, it's okay to go, you get on the phone with a client and you say, hey, so what do you need most right now? And they say, well, I need this. And you go, cool. You reach into your bag of tricks and you pull out something that's useful and you share what you got with them. But when you're leading a group, you can't just go, hey, what do you want to talk about today? You have to lead. You have to start with some content, right? And so the second project we need to work on is to unpack the content out of your head and stop reacting to what clients need and start leading them instead. On the delivery piece, the third side, I just had dental work and talking like this. The third thing we want to do is we want to harness the talent of a virtual team so you don't have to do everything yourself. And we'll know we're doing this right. The third piece is harnessing the talent. We don't want to have to do it all ourselves. Don't have to do all of the heavy lifting. We want to get it so that you just do the bits which you're great at and have other people help you with the rest. Does that make sense? So they're the 3 delivery accelerators. Let's have a look at the marketing piece, the fun piece, the sexy piece right now. There's 3 accelerators we drive there too to make sure that we're getting all of the leads that we need. So first thing we need to do is we need to fill your funnel. Oops. Most coaches don't have a funnel, and if they do, it's not full. And so there's 2 parts of that. It's designing out the perfect funnel to get you the leads that you need, and then turning on the traffic tab to drive people through, whether it's to a webinar or a case study funnel or an appointment funnel. We just need a simple funnel that drives new traffic your way and generates the leads you need. Fill your funnel. That's the first project. That's about getting rich. The second thing that coaches like to do, apart from getting rich, is to get famous. And so the second project, or second accelerator, is to build authority. To build authority, right? To go from who are you, best kept secret, to kind of a big deal in your space. Does that make sense? So we want to fill your funnel. That's about getting leads in. And then we want to build your authority so that it's easier to sell the people that you've got, so that you become quite a big deal. The more authority work we do, the easier that sales becomes. So the third project, we're going to fill your funnel, build authority. We're going to install automation. Again, so that you don't have to do all of this stuff yourself. Automated just means you don't have to do it. So it might be that you have a virtual assistant running some of the systems for you. It might be that you have an active campaign or an Infusionsoft or any other software gadget, some kind of system that you can design a campaign and just have it run for you every single week without you having to be physically involved. So the marketing does what it needs to do. You with me? When we can do those 3 things, fill your funnel, build authority, and install automation, guess what happens? Now you've got an attraction system that is absolutely humming. More money, more meaning, and more freedom from your coaching business, right? We've talked about the 3 accelerators for how you deliver your coaching business, the 3 accelerators for how you attract leads into your coaching business, and in just a moment we're going to talk about the way you convert. But what I'd like to know right now is if you think about these 3 attraction pieces, what do you need most right now? Do you need to fill your funnel more? Build authority and become a bit more of a key player in the space? Or is automation the thing that you most need? Do us a favor and just type into the box, which one of those 3? Leave us a comment. Which one of those 3 do you need most right now? On the convert side of things, there are 3 ways that $1 million coaches scale up the conversion side of the business. The very first thing we do, the first lever we pull, is helping you to master the ability to talk to somebody on the phone and have them want to sign up and give you clients, give you money. Now we call that audition clients, right? So you know you need this if of the last 10 prospects you spoke to, you signed less than 7. Okay, that says, holy crap, this is a huge opportunity for me right now. And so we want to go from trying to impress the people we talk to having them trying to impress you, and you just assess their match. Are we a fit or are we not a fit? And if we are, we're going to do what comes natural. And if we're not, we'll do what comes natural there and say thanks, but no thanks. Does that make sense? Partners will give you clients, 100%. Thanks, Ant, for having my back. So on the convert side, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to audition clients. The second piece is to sell with webinars. Big fan of the old webinar. Done a bunch of them in my time, and frankly, it's a little bit of a secret weapon. There's something magic about being able to show up on a webinar and have a few hundred perfect prospects show up as well, teach your heart out for an hour or a little bit more, and then have them jump on your offer and say, that was incredible, but I want more. That's exactly what we want. Okay? And so the second conversion driver that we run to grow your coaching business to $1 million a year is to sell with webinars. And that, which leads us to the third. And this is an advanced strategy. Don't recommend it for everybody, certainly not when you get started. But at some stage, you might like to hop on a stage and to rock an event, to deliver an event that knocks people's socks off and has 30 or 40% of the room go, I'd like to hire you as my coach. One of our guys, Mike, just did a live event, 80 people in the room. The offers ranged from 36 grand to 75 grand US for 1 or 2 or 3 years coaching. He closed 89% of the room and did well over $1 million and did kind of a big couple of days, right? So rocking events is the next thing you can master. So now we've done a quick overview of the 9 projects. What I want to do is make this really practical for you. And so now we've set some stage, got a bit of context here. Let's talk about you and your coaching business. We're going to do a little activity that I call traffic lights. And, oops. There we are. So we've got a set of traffic lights. And for each of these 9 projects, we're going to color code how you're doing right now. And I'll give you the measures, and we'll just walk around them one by one by one. And I want you to just type in the color. It could be red, this sucks, or it's broken, or I haven't really done it, or it needs a lot of work. Yellow, I'm doing okay. Or green, doing incredibly well. Let's talk about the deliver side of your coaching business right now. First up, let's talk about deciding your model. This is the first piece. Here's the question. If your business 10x'd overnight, like you go to sleep tonight and you literally had 10 times more clients tomorrow morning than you have today, what would break first, right? If the short answer is I would break, then that says that the model can't scale. What we want is a model that can have 100 or 1,000 clients without breaking at all. So number one, if you 10x your business, you would break, that's a big fat red. If you 10x your business and it would hold, but you might have to add an extra customer service person or 2, that's a yellow. And if it would not even skip a beat, you could 10x and it would be beautiful and smooth. Magic, right? That's green. So what color are you right now? If we 10x your business tonight, what color would you turn tomorrow morning? Red? Holy crap. Yellow? Okay, we've got some tweaking to do. Or green? Smooth sailing. What color would you be? For most people, the answer is a big fat red. You can't scale the coaching business because I'm in the middle of it. Whatever color you choose, I want you to kind of just make a note of that right now. I'm going to mark it red as a demo. Number 2, let's talk about your intellectual property, the content that is in your head. Okay, unpack your IP. Here's what green looks like. You're green if you have 3 things. Number 1, a book. Number 2, an online course, usually like a 6 to 8 week online course. And number 3, a 12-month, high-priced mastermind. If you have your content pulled out of your head into a book and a 6-week course and a 12-month mastermind, that's green. If you have 2 out of 3, that's yellow. And if you've got 1 or none, that's red. What's your color right there? Are you green? Got all 3? None or 1, that's red. You've got 2, that's orange. What's your color right there? Next up, harness the talent of a virtual team. This is about, lots of reds. This is about the support structure you've got around you. If you're like the Formula One driver in the car, in the race car, it's about who have you got in your pit crew helping you out. So the question isn't how many people do you have on your team, because that's completely irrelevant. The team is there to set you up to do something, and what its job is to set you free. And so the question is, how many days a week do you get to spend in your genius zone, doing the things which you are incredible at, that you're gifted at, that you love, that you'd happily pay to do, that you're fascinated and motivated about, that frankly, that brings in the cash, okay? If you spend 4 days a week or more in your genius, that's green. If you spend 2 or 3 days, that's orange. And if you spend 1 day or less, that's a red. And if you're so stuck doing one-on-one coaching sessions that there's no free time, let's call that a red. What color are you? So we've got to look at our deliver. We've got some colors here, and this should say, well, how scalable am I right now? What do I need to change in my business model, right? Next up, let's look at the way you attract right now. We've got yellow, orange. Okay, let's go yellow, orange. We'll put that in there. So let's talk about attract. Fill your funnel. The question here is about how many new leads are coming into your funnel. How many new leads do you have coming into your system every single month, right? So here's your funnel. If it's no new leads in ages, or you have to keep going back to the same people again and again and again, that's a red. If it's between let's call it 100 and 300 opt-ins a month, let's call that yellow. And if it's more than, if it's like 500 or 1,000 or more a month, let's call that a green for now. So are you red, no new leads? Are you green, hundreds, 3, 5, 1,000 more a month? Or are you yellow, somewhere in between? What color are you funnel-wise right now? Next up, build authority. And so this is about how many people are on your email list already. Like how many people know that you exist? How many people are you in touch with when you publish and promote content, right? And so I'm just still waiting on some fill funnel colors. If you have them, type them in. Thank you. Perfect, they're coming in right now. Appreciate that. For build authority, this is about how many people are on your email list right now. And let's just make this really, really simple. Let's go less than 1,000. Let's go between 1,000 and 10,000. And so less than 1,000 would be red. 1,000 to 10,000, let's call that yellow. 10,000 plus, let's call that green. Okay, what's your color there? I'll just take an average for the funnel. Let's call that red. And finally, install automation. And this is just a simple percentage question. How many of your marketing processes are automated? In other words, they run every single week, every single day, every single month without you. What percentage of your marketing processes are automated? If none of them are, like you're in the middle, pulling the levers, pressing the buttons, sending the emails, writing the stuff. If you're in the middle, that's a red. If everything happens without you, if like almost all of them are fully automated, that's a green. And if you're sort of about half or so, let's call that yellow. For automation, which one is most like you? Most coaches are pretty in the middle of stuff, so it's probably a yellow or probably a red, but whatever color you are is completely fine. If you're green, amazing, fantastic. Let's have a look at the convert side. Really, really simple. Auditioning clients, the measure we track here is just conversion rate from one-on-one sales appointment into client. And if you're not sure, then that's a red. Like if you don't know your number, that's a big red flag. Auditioning clients. So if you convert less than 60% of the people you talk to, like measured, that's red. If you don't know, that's red. If you're between 60 and 70, let's call that yellow. And if you're between 80 and 95 or 100%, that'd be a green. Most people do pretty well in this area, so I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being a yellow or maybe even a green for some of you. That either says you're getting lots and lots of leads and they're not qualified, or there's some conversion holes. Either way, we can do some work. I'm going to mark that in. Webinar. Okay, we've got 2 more to go. You're doing epic. And then comes the punchline. Okay, so webinar. When it comes to selling with webinars, are you, well, firstly, if you've never sold with a webinar or you've never run a webinar that somebody bought at the end of, that's a red just because you haven't done it. If you've run a webinar and converted 10% of the people on the webinar who are with you live into a client, let's call that yellow. And if you've done 20 or 30% of the people who are on the webinar into a client, let's call that green. That'd be a pretty good webinar result. So what's your webinar color? There'd be probably lots of reds because Maybe you haven't done it, and that's totally okay. Let's call the average here yellow. And then events, exactly the same thing. If you've done a live event and sold your stuff from stage, if you haven't, that's a red, so type that in just because you haven't done it. If you have sold your stuff from stage and you converted 10 or so, 10 or less percent, let's call that, it's not that great, but let's call it yellow. And if you've done 20 or 30 or more percent, let's call that green for now, okay? Okay. So dude, this isn't looking particularly colorful. I might switch one up and add a green just to give us a bit of a sample. Let's call that green for now. It's kind of greeny brown. So here's the question. If you have a look at your colors around the outside, this is my numbers from what I've seen from you guys, but if you have a look at your colors, what it says is there's a lot more yellows and reds than there are greens. And remember, these colors are a measure of how scalable your coaching business is, right? So there's 9 areas that all of them we want to be able to dial up from red to yellow to green. So here's the thing. The question I've got for you is if you have a look at your colors here, whether you were coloring in at home or just watching mine, how scalable is your coaching business right now based on these colors? And the truth is that if you're at red and yellow, or even predominantly red and yellow, we're in real trouble, and it's going to be really difficult to scale up your coaching business. That's the bad news. The good news is that you don't need all 9 of these to be at green for you to do really, really well. What I want to do right now is just give you what I call the $1 million plan. If I had to get you to $1 million a year quickly, there's 3 that I would focus on first. The first thing we'd do on the delivery side of things is we'd figure out your model. We'd have to figure out what are we going to sell, to who, for how much, what's the program content, and obviously linked to that there's a little bit of IP work, but mostly we're going to just figure out what are we going to sell. Secondly, we need to fill your funnel. If we had to choose between authority, famous, and funnel, rich, we choose funnel every time. So now we know what we're going to sell, how we're going to get the leads, and then thirdly, I'm going to teach you how to sell with webinars. That little triangle there, that little cluster is the quickest way I know to get you to $1 million a year. Super cool. All right, guys, love to help out. If there's anything I can do, please let me know. If you found this video helpful, can you do me a favor and just hit the share button? Want to help as many coaches as we can to scale and get more money, more meaning, more freedom. The way we do that is just by helping as many people as we can to see this little training. So guys, it's been fun today. Appreciate you so much. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to wrap up this live. It's been fun hanging out. Take good care. I'll talk to you soon.